Hi, I'm John Fitzgerald and welcome to this week's Team Talk. I'm going to talk to you about numbers. And the most important number when we talk about in wealth building is 72. No, I wasn't born in 1972. The rule of 72. And the rule of 72 comes down to compound growth. Do you know, the most important mistake I see, or one of the biggest mistakes I see investors make when they buy property, is they're waiting for it to double in value before they do anything. When should you use your property to invest in another property? Whenever you can. And if you study millionaires, really what you're going to study is people who, as soon as they get 50 to 100,000 growth, they've used their property to duplicate and to duplicate and to duplicate. Why? Because of the rule of 72. And the rule of 72 is this. It's a fascinating study. The rule of 72 is compound growth is determined by the percentage of annual growth divided by 72. And that will tell you how many years it takes for your property to double in value. So let's say you're getting 8% growth. It'll take 9 years. 10% growth, it'll take 7.2 years. Or 7.2% growth will take maybe 10 years. 8, 9, 10 years, depending on your growth. Now, there's been a lot of conjecture, I should say, about, oh, we're not going to have compound growth anymore. Well, that's just nonsense. And they said that Glenn Stevens said it from Reserve Bank. No, he didn't. What he said is that the compound growth could be a little bit slower because more people are saving. I completely disagree. And I disagree because I think that pattern will change, particularly when interest rates come down and those people who are saving money realise that they're not getting the returns that they're currently getting of 4s and 5% from the banks. But that's a whole different story. But what it comes down to is if you study the patterns of the market over the last 40 years, compound growth, the double-digit growth, if I just focus on double-digit, that is doubling your portfolio every 7 years, getting 10, 12 plus %, what you would need to do is if you just bought in one market, you would get growth over the last 40 years, maybe 16, 18 out of 40 years. 2 markets, 28 out of 40 years. 3 markets, 32, 33. And 4 markets, 34, 35 out of 40 years. Now, if you're not 100% sure what I'm talking about, please sit down with your custodian consultant and talk about this, because it's the most important thing you can do to build wealth. Don't be waiting for your maximum growth on your property. Duplicate as soon as you can so that you're going to lift all your properties up when the market inevitably goes through that wave, that upswing. And I keep on talking about the boom, and the numbers are so compelling for this. Focus, rule of 72. And I'm going to talk about it in this year's Custodian magazine. So if you're not 100% on board, don't worry, I'll explain it in this year's magazine. Hey, thanks for listening to me today. I'm John Fitzgerald.